You're streaming ABC News live.
Tonight, the crisis at the border. As a caravan of thousands of people, including small children, make its way to the U.S. border, top U.S. officials head to Mexico to discuss the surge. And,
you know, it breaks my heart to know that there are kids growing up that see only the highlight reels, that see only the, manufactured, polished Hollywood, idyllic bodies. And it's just not realistic.
It's a rarely discussed condition impacting men across the country. In tonight's Prime Focus, we bring you the very human stories behind bigorexia and how Hollywood and social media have had a role in perpetuating the problem. Good evening, everyone. I'm Phil Lipoff in tonight for Lindsay Davis. Thanks so much for streaming with us. We are following those stories and much more, including heavy rain coming for the Northeast, putting millions on alert for flooding. We are tracking the storm as it barrels up the coast. Plus, the New York Times suing OpenAI and Microsoft, the accusations that the tech giants are actually teaching bots how to write using stories by the Times. And 2023 was hot and fiery, but there are solutions that can undo the damage humans have already done. But we begin with that new developments at the border and major talks between Mexico and the U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken and the Homeland Security Secretary are in Mexico City to push that country's president to do more to slow the migrant surge at the U.S. southwestern border. This, as a caravan of migrants around 6,000 strong, is making the dangerous journey to the border. They could arrive early in the new year. Sanctuary cities like New York and Chicago have been feeling the pressure as well from the influx. Overnight, a plane carrying nearly 200 asylum seekers was diverted to Philadelphia because of bad weather. They later arrived to New York City on packed buses. Both sides are under pressure to reach an agreement after other attempts, like limiting direct travel, have failed to make a significant impact. ABC's Maria Villarreal leads us off tonight from Texas.
Tonight, U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken arriving in Mexico City, pressing Mexico's president for help with the migrant surge at the border, joined by DHS Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas. Sources telling ABC News that the Biden administration planned to push Mexico to step up immigration enforcement within their country, help reopen key ports of entry, and encourage migrants to stay in Mexico. The urgent meeting coming as border officials brace for this caravan of migrants, an estimated 6,000 people pushing through southern Mexico towards an overwhelmed U.S. border. Marvin, a migrant from Honduras, says in our country the situation is getting worse and worse. We are only looking for an opportunity to work. We are not criminals. Their journey, a treacherous one. On Tuesday, officials in Mexico say they located one body in the Rio Grande after two men drowned while trying to cross into the U.S. near Matamoros. December now on track to have the highest number of Border Patrol apprehensions ever, according to CBP data. Several days this month seeing more than 10,000 apprehensions. Republican Texas Governor Greg Abbott using taxpayer dollars to fly hundreds of asylum seekers to Democratic-led sanctuary cities like Chicago and New York, where local police limit their coordination with federal immigration and customs enforcement. Overnight, a plane carrying over 180 migrants from Texas diverted to Philadelphia due to weather issues. The group later packed on buses and transported to New York City. Tonight, Mayor Eric Adams now requiring those buses to provide 32-hour notice before arriving in the city and urging the federal government to step up.
This is a national problem that has only been exacerbated by Governor Abbott's cruel, inhumane politics. The federal government must take responsibility.
Maria joins me now. And Maria, today the president of Mexico discussed wanting to work with the U.S., but is that even possible without any help from Congress?
Oh, you know, that's exactly what we need to talk about, Phil, is the fact that this all comes down to really funding and that border security bill that has yet to be approved. But we do know that there are bipartisan conversations going on over the holiday break remotely and that there are senators trying to negotiate a deal. And while there is no guarantee right now, the hope is that they will bring something back on January 8th when they return.
All right, Maria Villarreal from Fort Worth, Texas. Maria, thank you. Tonight, a dangerous storm system is dumping heavy rain in the Northeast, and with it, an urgent flood threat along the I-95 corridor. With more than 10 million Americans under a flood watch tonight. Let's get straight to senior meteorologist Rob Marciano to time it all out for us. Hey, Rob.
Hey, Phil, look, we're looking at more rain on top of what we've seen the past month. The Northeast has seen twice as much rain as we normally should get. A couple of flooding events as recent as last week, and some of those same spots are probably going to see some flooding tonight. So here's a threat area that includes New York City up through Westchester County, Philadelphia, back down through Maryland. And again, this is going to happen, I think, in the next 6 to 12 hours. That big Midwest storm is transferring some of its energy to a coastal low. So that's what's bringing in some of the brighter colors here, coastal flooding as well. But I-95 up through northern parts of New Jersey, including the Hudson Valley, right around midnight, give or take a couple of hours, through the early morning hours. That's when the real rain is going to be coming down. The heavy stuff at 7 a.m. is just east of New York City into Long Island, parts of Connecticut, New Haven, Providence. Eastern New England will continue the rain throughout the day, but the heaviest stuff will be across New Jersey and the Delaware Valley. 1 to 3 inches of rainfall. Much of that, Phil, is going to be coming in the dark of night tonight. So kind of dangerous situation if you live in one of those flood-prone areas.
Yeah.
Phil?
All right, it's a good heads up. Rob, thank you. Overseas now, to renewed fears of a wider conflict in the Middle East. Once again, a group in Iraq launched drone strikes against U.S. forces in the region just days after the U.S. hit key targets there in retaliatory strikes. Here's ABC's Terry Moran.
Tonight, renewed concerns of a wider war in the Middle East as Iran-backed rebels launch another drone attack on U.S. forces stationed at Erbil Air Base in northern Iraq. The attack is the latest of the more than 100 incidents where Iranian-backed groups have targeted U.S. troops with rockets and drones since the start of Israel's war against Hamas. Just this week, President Biden directed U.S. forces to carry out multiple retaliatory airstrikes on Iranian-affiliated militia groups in Iraq, who hours earlier launched self-detonating drones that left 3 U.S. service members injured, 1 critically. In response, Houthi rebels in Yemen, backed by Iran, fired on more commercial vessels in the Red Sea, according to U.S. Central Command. U.S. warships in the region shot down 12 drones and 5 missiles over a 10-hour period.
The United States has pushed forces to the region to try to deter the war in Gaza from expanding. Of course, that also gives our adversaries, especially Iran and their proxies, more targets.
President Biden's calculated response to all these attacks on U.S. forces in the region have so far failed to stop them, raising the stakes in what has become a shadowy showdown with Iran over U.S. support for Israel against Hamas. The dangerous instability seemed to spread farther over the weekend when a chemical tanker was struck by an Iranian drone 200 miles off the coast of India.
And Terry joins me now. Terry, how is the U.S. managing this really delicate balancing act as more troops continue to come under attack throughout that region?
Well, Phil, it is tough, and the administration is trying to build an international coalition to protect commercial shipping through that crucial Red Sea trade route, while at the same time increasing the use of force gradually against these Iran-backed groups without triggering that wider war. It is a real challenge, but right now it is clear President Biden would prefer to err on the side of caution. Phil?
I'm Terry Moran from the nation's capital tonight. Terry, thank you. Now to the Israel-Hamas war with still no end in sight. More than 100 hostages are still being held by Hamas as Israel is now expanding its ground offensive in central Gaza. Military officials insist the war could continue for many more months. Here's ABC's Britt Clennett again for us in Israel tonight.
Tonight, Israel ratcheting up the rhetoric on regional tensions, with the Israeli defense minister saying Israel is under attack on several fronts, including Syria and Lebanon, where the IDF claims to have hit Hezbollah targets. Israel is facing mounting international pressure to secure a deal to free the more than 100 hostages still held by Hamas. President Biden speaking to Qatar's Emir, the two leaders discussing the urgent effort to release all remaining hostages, including American citizens, and the need to boost humanitarian aid to Gaza. Overnight, Israel conducting some of its heaviest strikes in this war, hitting locations in central and southern Gaza. The Hamas-run health ministry saying more than 250 people have been killed in 24 hours, hundreds more injured. The World Health Organization describing the dire state of Gaza's healthcare systems.
Almost all of the hospital services have stopped functioning, either because the facilities themselves have been affected, because the staff have been forced to flee, because they run out of power or they run out of medical supplies.
Under the constant bombardment, dozens of Gazan children playing at this UN school, grasping onto a sense of normalcy. 10-year-old Rawan saying, we play to forget the pain we've experienced.
Phil, late today, an Israeli war cabinet minister said the next steps in the fight will also be powerful, deep and surprising, adding the campaign will continue and will be expanded according to need. Phil?
All right, Britt, thank you. A pregnant Texas teenager who disappeared before she was scheduled to give birth and her boyfriend are believed to have been found dead following a days-long search. According to San Antonio police, the bodies of an 18-year-old woman and 22-year-old man were found in a parked vehicle, each with a gunshot wound. An unborn child was also found dead. They are believed to have been in the boyfriend's vehicle for 3 to 4 days. The victim's cause of death and identities will, of course, be confirmed by the medical examiner. An alarming scene right outside of the U.S. Capitol to tell you about. A 23-year-old man carrying a machete and a knife was pacing back and forth on Tuesday. Capitol Police say an officer approached and drew his service weapon, ordering the man to put his hands up. The man complied and was safely taken into custody. No word yet what exactly he was doing in Washington, D.C., but authorities say there is no evidence that he was targeting members of Congress. President Trump scoring a legal victory in a major battleground state today. The Michigan State Supreme Court has rejected an appeal to keep him off of the state's primary ballot in 2024. ABC senior investigative correspondent Aaron Katersky with details.
Tonight, a battleground state victory for former President Trump. The Michigan Supreme Court has decided Trump stays on the ballot, declining to take up a challenge by a liberal-leaning group seeking to declare Trump ineligible from running in the 2024 Republican primary based on his attempts to overturn the results of the 2020 election.
If there's uncertainties about whether someone should have access to the ballot, you decide in favor of giving the voters the choice to and allow that person on the ballot.
Trump lauded the decision, writing on social media the Michigan Supreme Court strongly and rightfully turned aside what he called this pathetic gambit. There are similar challenges to Trump's eligibility in more than a dozen other states, including Oregon and in Maine, where the decision is up to the Secretary of State. Today, Trump's lawyers said Maine Secretary of State Shenna Bellows, a Democrat, has exhibited a personal bias and asked her to recuse herself. So far, only the Colorado Supreme Court has disqualified Trump, and he's expected to appeal to the U.S. Supreme Court. All of the challenges cite January 6th and are based on Section 3 of the 14th Amendment, which disqualifies candidates from federal office if they engaged in insurrection after previously taking an oath to defend the Constitution, which Trump did during his inauguration.
Preserve, protect, and defend
the Constitution of the United States.
The Constitution of the United States.
In Michigan, a lower court said whether the 14th Amendment applies to Trump is up to the political parties that run the primary elections. A majority of the state Supreme Court justices said we are not persuaded that the questions presented should be reviewed by this court.
Aaron joins me now. And Aaron, legally, how does the way the Michigan justices rule here differ from the way other states did facing the same question?
Some courts actually heard arguments, went through the whole thing, and then issued a ruling. Here, the Michigan Supreme Court declined to even take the case. They simply affirmed the decision of lower courts, which had said Trump's name belongs on the ballot. But this could come up again because the way the justices did this, once the general election rolls around, it's possible they left open the possibility of another challenge. So we may be right back here again in Michigan.
And Aaron, there is also news tonight about the federal case that charges Trump with conspiring to overturn the 2020 election.
There is. Special counsel Jack Smith said today in a court filing that he's convinced Trump and his legal team are going to try to inject politics into the proceeding, and so he asked the judge not to let him do it. The special counsel wants Trump and his lawyers barred from making certain arguments, like Trump is being vindictively prosecuted at President Biden's direction. Phil.
All right. Aaron Katersky, thank you. So the New York Times has filed a federal lawsuit against OpenAI and Microsoft seeking to end the practice of using its stories to train chatbots. The Times is suing the creator of ChatGPT over copyright infringement, alleging the company used the newspaper's material without permission to train the massively popular chatbot threatening its livelihood by effectively stealing billions of dollars worth of work by its journalists, in some cases using the Times material verbatim. The Times did not list specific damages and is asking the court to order the tech companies to destroy AI models or data sets that use its work. A wild landing for passengers and crew on an American Airlines flight from LAX to London's Heathrow Airport. It happened today. The Boeing 777 could be seen drifting back and forth on the runway. The crew's struggling to bring that plane to a safe landing. As you see, they did. Winds today were gusting up to 40 miles per hour at the airport. And in Fort Lauderdale, a bird strike forced a Southwest Airlines plane to make an emergency landing shortly after taking off. ABC's transportation correspondent Gio Benitez with details.
Southwest Airlines Flight 1460 was bound for Austin this morning when shortly after takeoff from Fort Lauderdale, the call to the tower.
1416, we had a big flock of birds we went through. We may have even hit one there.
The Boeing 737 landed safely just before noon, emergency crews meeting it at the gate. It's the second such incident on a Southwest plane in less than a week.
Do you need an emergency vehicle? We need everything you have.
Last Thursday, Southwest Flight 554, bound for Tampa out of New Orleans, had to turn back after a bird struck the outside of the plane during departure. The FAA says there have been nearly 15,000 bird strikes on planes in the U.S. just this year.
They can be very serious. The airplanes are not built to brush them aside, but engines, I've taken birds in engines, and it can damage the engine. It can cause an engine to fail.
And this all comes as a record number of travelers take to the skies for the holiday. The next busiest day to fly is Friday, when we expect another 2.5 million passengers. Phil?
All right, Gio, thank you. We turn now to the cost of living, which, as you know and as you have been feeling, has been skyrocketing in recent years. And this January 1st, millions of Americans will be getting some help paying their bills. But not everyone is on board with the changes. ABC's Andrew Dimber with details.
With a new year comes new laws, and for many states, that means the minimum wage is going up. Beginning January 1st, 22 states will see their minimum hourly wage increase. In some states, the hike will be small, just 35 cents in Ohio. But in Hawaii, the minimum will rise by $2.
The impact of the increase in minimum wage it just moves people closer and closer to out of poverty.
In New York, a split. The minimum hourly wage in the New York City area will rise by $1, while the rest of the state sees an 80-cent raise. But it's California that has generated the most headlines. Wages there are going up by 50 cents on January 1st. And then in April, fast food workers will see a far more substantial raise of $4 an hour.
557,000 people at 30,000 locations. This is a big deal. $20 an hour. 80% of the workforce in these fast food places, 80% are people of color. Two-thirds are women.
This is for my ancestors. This is for all the farm workers, all the cotton pickers. This is for them.
But the state is already paying the consequences. 2 large Pizza Hut franchises announced yesterday that they're eliminating their in-house delivery services, resulting in more than 1,200 drivers being laid off. Customers will now have to use third-party apps like DoorDash for deliveries. And Chipotle and McDonald's have said they'll be raising prices in the state to offset the higher labor costs.
All right, our thanks to Andrew for that. There is still much more to get to here tonight on Prime. The investigation into the death of South Korean actor Lee Sun-kyun, best known for his leading role in Parasite. But next, in our Prime Focus, a complicated question. What is masculinity? The quests some go on to define it can actually lead to dangerous consequences and be a telltale sign they're suffering from a fairly new mental health condition, muscle dysmorphia.
Whenever news breaks.
We are here in Israel, a nation at war after that brutal surprise attack by Hamas.
On the ground in Ukraine, reporting from Lewiston, Maine.
The scene of a horrific mass shooting.
ABC News Live is right there everywhere.
From the scene of that deadly missile strike in Dnipro, Ukraine.
reporting from the earthquake in Turkey.
In rolling forward, this tornado tore through this little town.
From the most devastating disaster in Hawaii.
From Charleston, South Carolina, on the 2024 campaign trail.
In Iceland. Let's go.
Traveling with the president in Mexico City.
Wherever the story.
From the front lines. From southern Israel. Outside the Gaza Strip. In Beirut. From the FBI.
Reporting from the nurses on the picket line.
Here at 10 Downing Street in London.
Streaming live to you.
Wherever the story is.
Wherever the story is.
Wherever the story is. We're going to take you there.
You're streaming
ABC News Live.
ABC News Live.
You're streaming ABC News Live.
ABC News Live. Streaming free everywhere. America's #1 streaming news.
First thing in the morning.
There's a lot going on.
Everybody in that home is okay.
To catch you up with what happened overnight. We are here at fashion's biggest night out.
What's happening today? YouTube has unveiled a new set of policies.
What people are talking about. The new ad campaign.
Fast, straightforward.
With some fun in between.
A real-life Barbie dream house.
A name change for the Wienermobile.
First thing in the morning.
America This Morning.
America's #1 early morning news.
On ABC News Live.
All right, here we go. You ready? Let's do it.
Yes, it's the show America wants and America needs right now.
This is What Would You Do? Let's go. How are you?
Can I hug you?
Yes.
So what will you be watching Saturdays on ABC News Live?
What would you do?
Hey, I guess I just found out.
The What Would You Do Marathon, 2 to 6 Eastern, every Saturday on ABC News Live.
My favorite show.
Welcome back. Some billboards, storefronts, TV commercials, even some toys send a pretty clear message to men and boys. The bigger the muscles, the better the man. Experts say those images are also partially to blame for a fairly new form of body dysmorphic disorder that leads to overly rigorous workouts, dangerous dieting, even cosmetic procedures. From a student to a fitness expert, even a Hollywood leading man, it can impact everyone. Trevor Ault takes a look at the devastating consequences of society's shifting view of masculinity in tonight's Prime Focus.
So every day, I have to wake up and I have to show the world that I'm a man. It's not enough that I am a man. I have to now prove my worth.
You're never gonna look as good as you do in the gym.
It was the same, almost the same feeling of this has to happen now, or something terrible, something really bad's going to happen to me, the same way your body is maybe telling you you're going to die if you don't take that breath.
You've heard the term gym rat. You've seen fitness models all over social media touting how they achieve their enviable figures. Maybe you even have a friend who seems to spend all their time at the gym pushing themselves to the limits. No pain, no gain. Can there be too much of a good thing? When does working out become an addiction? Justin Baldoni is known for playing handsome, muscular characters like Raphael Solano in Jane the Virgin.
Why were you trying to get in the shower with me?
Like so many, his own masculinity became tied to how he looked.
I ran track, I played soccer, and I tore my hamstring my senior year. And I lost everything. And I got depressed. So I overcompensated, like we all do, and I went in the gym and I tried to get as buff and strong and big as I could. And from that point on, the way that I felt in clothes, the way that other boys and other men looked at me, the way that other girls looked at me, I was like, oh, okay. So in order to get respect, in order to have the girls be attracted to me, in order to feel like I'm enough, I need to be big.
You can use my shirt.
And that began a whole journey in my 20s where I was just the dude that always would take off his shirt, that always had the six-pack, that was just always in shape.
Noah Neiman, the co-founder of Rumble Boxing, remembers 10 years ago showing us on ABC how to get the perfect V-cut.
Make sure you're using your abs. I want you to lean it back. It's this little ligament right there.
Okay.
That's
rated here.
But even as the literal model of fitness, he too was his own harshest critic.
I'm on national TV talking about, looking good and feeling good in your abs, and I was self-conscious. And I'm a professional, and I was at home being like, oh, I should have done some more sit-ups. I felt that I didn't look good.
And aspirations of the ideal male physique don't just impact Hollywood actors and fitness professionals.
My friend had like a gym in his shed in the back of his house, in like his garage. And I went there and started lifting weights. I was hearing words of dedication and consistency and working hard and all these things that felt good, felt like I was getting that kind of respect. And a lot of this revolved around masculinity for me as well, and that idea of being manly.
Muscle dysmorphia, sometimes known as bigorexia, is a type of body dysmorphic disorder where someone perceives their body shape as a distressing flaw in their appearance that doesn't line up with how they might actually look.
It affects mostly men and boys who think their body build is too small and puny, that they're not big and muscular enough. When in reality, they look entirely normal, or some of them are very muscular, but they don't see themselves that way.
The more you focus in on it, the more you can find flaws?
Yes, and the more distorted your perception gets. Perhaps it's a little bit like staring at a word on a page that you're reading. After a while, it starts looking a little distorted and odd, right?
Dr. Catherine Phillips, along with her fellow authors, coined the term muscle dysmorphia more than 20 years ago in their book, The Adonis Complex. Take us back to the early 90s. I mean, how was body dysmorphia, or more specifically muscle dysmorphia, considered in society? Was it even considered at all?
No. Scientists weren't aware of it. Doctors weren't aware of it. If you think of Cary Grant and, you know, the era of my father, your grandfather, they weren't obsessed with being muscular. They were perfectly happy with a sort of ordinary body build. And then over the decades, especially I'd say from the 1990s onward, we see an increasing emphasis on a more muscular male body in advertising, in action figures, the toys that boys play with.
It's a secret crisis Dr. Phillips estimates 2 to 3% of the general population suffer from, largely in silence.
I remember one of the first patients I saw with muscle dysmorphia. I noticed that he had 6 layers of t-shirts. He was trying to look bigger.
And that idea of looking bigger has become an increasing expectation for men around the world. 26-year-old PhD student George Mycock from England says his journey with muscle dysmorphia started when he was just 13, when he originally began playing rugby to be tough like his dad.
People started to kind of call me big man, or like people started to kind of award the violent behaviors that I would do on the pitch, and people would associate me with being tough and being strong and being powerful.
It became a part of his identity, an identity that was taken away when he broke his back and told he should never play rugby again.
I was emotional eating because I was just upset about not being able to play rugby anymore and losing this part of my identity, so I gained a significant amount of weight.
That's when George began to hit the gym, arguably too often, but online forums told him otherwise.
You know, the term freak is a term of endearment in the fitness community. If you want to become really muscular, you want to be, you know, successful and pushing through this barrier, friends are going to not understand, your family's not going to understand, but it's your responsibility to ignore that and push through.
After nearly 10 years of tough workouts and strict diets, he was still not satisfied with how he looked.
I basically got to the point where I felt like I would never be what I wanted to be, and I felt like it would be better if I wasn't here. And one of my friends noticed that I'd been away for a long time, and I was literally on that day, I was planning how I was going to do it.
For trainer Noah and a lot of men worldwide, his story parallels George's.
I was really self-conscious, so I would avoid playing basketball because, God forbid, I was picked on the skins team. You're literally looking at the mirror, and I've done it before. You know, I've gone as extreme as, you know, eating the Rice Krispie treat and being like, damn, that's 100 calories, I gotta get on the bike.
Do you think that negative thinking would have killed you?
Yes, I mean, I was over-exercising. I was underfeeding myself, and that just wreaked havoc on my sleep, on, you know, my ability to function as a human. And those things took me into a very depressive state. Mm-hmm. So you try to crawl out of it, and I tried to crawl out of it through drugs.
Noah realized he needed to change his mindset, chasing a feeling, not a finish line.
I don't want to train for a six-pack. I want to train because it makes me feel like the strongest version of myself and like I'm progressing today, like I'm getting a little bit better today. And that progression it's got to be the foundation of happiness.
Hey, Justin, all the way left.
And Justin, too, realized he needed to change his motivations for working out, taking a break from acting, now preaching what he calls the why ladder, detailed in his books Man Enough and Boys Will Be Human.
Why do you want to work out? Okay, why? And then why? Generally, that third why gets you to the core root of the reason. It doesn't matter what the reason is. So long as you are aware of the reason, then go in the gym.
How about a toast? He regularly discusses the pressures of what it means to be a man on his Man Enough podcast.
Raise your hand if you've ever had body image issues.
He encourages his son to understand there's more than just working out the body.
I always tell him the heart is the strongest muscle in the body. Of course, scientifically, we know it's the tongue or the brain, but metaphorically, it really is.
And with George's darkest days behind him, he's now studying for his doctorate in muscularity-oriented issues, starting his own podcast and website called MyoMinds, initially a sounding board for others to talk about their own experience with fitness.
I was overwhelmed by how many that it was that shared something and said resonated with what I'd said, and the fact that none of them had ever told me that before.
And all three men say, while there is no question fitness is important, for them it comes down to self-worth. And in some cases, pairing that with professional help. What do you think teenage Noah, who felt bad watching MTV, would have thought with the TikTok reels and Instagram, seeing what it is now?
Oh, it would have destroyed me. Absolutely, and I'm just being honest. It almost destroyed me when I was a kid. And it breaks my heart to know that there are kids growing up that see only the highlight reels, that see only the, manufactured, polished, Hollywood, idyllic bodies. And it's just not realistic.
When you get to the top of the mountain or maybe further up the mountain, the grass isn't greener. Your insecurities don't go away because what you're trying to fill is a void that no amount of muscle will ever fix.
Our thanks to Trevor. And there are support groups out there like the Body Dysmorphic Disorder Foundation, who we want to thank, by the way, for putting us in touch with George. There is still much more to get to here on Prime. Coming up, as the year draws to a close, we are looking back at the pop culture moments that caught our attention and even changed the way we look at things. But next, reflecting on the Detroit Pistons' impressively terrible season by the numbers.
With so much at stake, so much on the line, more Americans turn here than any other newscast. ABC News World News Tonight with David Muir, America's #1 most watched newscast across all of television.
This is ABC News Live.
The crush of families here in Poland.
At refugee centers.
In Putin's Russia.
On the ground in Ukraine.
Close to the front line.
From the capital.
Destructive Cat 4 storm.
We're along
I-5. Boston is in the bullseye.
Let's go.
ABC News Live, America's #1 streaming news. Anytime, anywhere. Streaming 24/7, straight to you for free.
Thank you for making ABC News Live America's #1 streaming news.
From America's #1 news comes the all-new ABC News app. Breaking news, incredible video, faster, smarter, and customizable to your interests. If you love being in the know, you're gonna love this. Experience the all-new ABC News app. Download it now.
All right, here we go. You ready? Let's do it. Yes, it's the show America wants and America needs right now.
This is What Would You Do? Let's go. How are you?
Yes. So what will you be watching Saturdays on ABC News Live?
What would you do?
Hey, I guess I just found out.
The What Would You Do Marathon, 2 to 6 Eastern, every Saturday on ABC News Live.
My favorite show.
First thing in the morning.
There's a lot going on.
Everybody in that home is okay.
To catch you up with what happened overnight. We are here at fashion's biggest night out.
What's happening today? YouTube has unveiled a new set of policies.
What people are talking about. The new ad campaign.
Fast, straightforward.
With some fun in between.
A real-life Barbie dream house.
A name change for the Wienermobile.
First thing in the morning.
America This Morning.
America's #1 early morning news.
On ABC News Live.
We have really good news. Congratulations, you're pregnant.
I was terrified.
It was just so traumatic.
Nightmare.
People need to understand, these were wanted
babies.
18 women facing life and death medical conditions. Their lives now out of their control.
I felt like I was going to die.
Our lives and our health are debatable.
I wouldn't wish this upon my worst enemy.
Diane Sawyer, Rachel Scott, On the Brink, now streaming on Hulu.
Why do so many people start their day here?
From ABC News, this is Start Here.
To be in the know and get a different take on the day's top stories.
A lot of news today, so let's get into it.
Listen now to the Daily News Podcast honored with 4 Edward R. Murrow Awards and see why the New York Times calls it a news podcast worth listening to. Start Here, ABC News. Make it your daily first listen.
Now, that's a part of the story I bet you didn't see coming.
Wherever you get your podcasts, Start Here.
It's lunchtime in America, so what are we serving up?
Well, how about everything you need to know?
You know, that sounds pretty good.
Give it to me. Your health, your money, breaking news, pop culture, with the biggest stars, music, trends, and of course, good food. GMA 3, what you need to know. A third hour of GMA in the afternoon.
So join us, afternoons.
For everything you need to know. I love that.
I'm Matt Rivers, and that is the Panama Canal. Wherever the story is, we'll take you there. You're streaming ABC News Live.
Welcome back. The Detroit Pistons are setting NBA records, but not the kind any fan hopes for. Here's a look at the losingest team in history by the numbers. 27 straight losses make the Pistons the team with the most losses in a single season. The team's 118-112 fall to the Brooklyn Nets last night secured that place in infamy. They beat out the 2010-2011 Cleveland Cavaliers and the 2013-14 Philadelphia 76ers for that ignoble title. The fateful game started with some hope. Detroit had a 14-point lead in the first quarter, but just as Pistons fans started to get their hopes up, see, that'll teach you, the Nets went on a 13-0 run to take the lead for good. Next up, for the beleaguered Pistons, the overall record of 28 straight losses set by the 76ers across 2 seasons. They will get a shot at that tie when they face the NBA-leading Boston Celtics tomorrow. Detroit fans, as you would imagine, are none too happy about their record-setting team. Loud chants can be heard of "sell the team," rapidly becoming a home game refrain. At least the Detroit Lions clinched their first division title in 30 years this week. Some good news, right? There's much more ahead here on Prime. After a year of fire, flood, and natural calamities, ABC's Ginger Z is looking into some of the solutions people are actually adapting to turn the tide on environmental change. And the latest accusations as well against the court clerk from the Alex Murdaugh trial.
Whenever, wherever news breaks, it's so important to always remember that lives are changed.
Here in London, in Buffalo, Uvalde, Texas,
Edinburgh, Scotland.
from Poland once again tonight. Thank you so much for streaming with us. Ukrainian refugees here in Warsaw.
Do you think you'll ever be able to go back home? We're heading to a small community outside of Mexico City.
Splintered houses and splintered lives. The magnitude of the devastation.
You're streaming ABC News Live. Reporting from Rolling Fork, Mississippi.
Santa Fe, New Mexico. Raleigh, North Carolina. The U.S. Capitol. Mayfield, Kentucky.
Minneapolis.
Mexico. Tongass National Forest, Alaska.
Getting you behind the stories as they happen. Giving you a front row seat to our world as it plays out in real time, live.
ABC News Live Prime. We'll take you there.
Stream ABC News Live weeknights, America's most honored streaming news program, only on ABC News Live. Streaming free right now wherever you stream your news.
First thing in the morning.
There's a lot going on.
Everybody in that home is okay.
To catch you up with what happened overnight. We are here at fashion's biggest night out.
What's happening today? YouTube has unveiled a new set of policies.
What people are talking about, the new ad campaign.
Fast, straightforward.
With some fun in between.
A real-life Barbie dream house.
A name change for the Wienermobile.
First thing in the morning.
America This Morning.
America's #1 early morning news.
On ABC News Live.
This is ABC News Live.
The crush of families here in Poland.
At refugee centers.
In Putin's Russia.
On the ground in Ukraine. Close to the front line.
From the capital.
Destructive Cat 4 storm.
You're along I-5.
Boston is in the bullseye. Let's go.
ABC News Live, America's #1 streaming news. Anytime, anywhere. Streaming 24/7, straight to you for free.
Thank you for making ABC News Live America's #1 streaming news. Whenever, wherever news breaks, it's so important to always remember that lives are changed. Here in London, in Buffalo, Uvalde, Texas, Edinburgh, Scotland.
Reporting from Rolling Fork, Mississippi.
Ukrainian refugees here in Warsaw.
We're heading to a small community outside of Mexico City, getting you behind the stories as they happen. ABC News Live Prime. We'll take you there.
Stream ABC News Live weeknights wherever you stream your news. Only on ABC News Live.
Get ready, America, every Friday.
The hottest trends, styles, and must-have. What's the right stuff to buy right now? I really love that. It's time to buy the right stuff.
Yes!
And save big time, too.
The right stuff.
Fridays on GMA. You're going to love it.
Why do so many people start their day here?
From ABC News, this is Start Here.
To be in the know and get a different take on the day's top stories. Start here.
Now, that's a part of the story I bet you didn't see coming.
Make it your daily first listen wherever you get your podcasts.
All right, here we go. You ready? Let's do it.
Yes, it's the show America wants and America needs right now.
This is What Would You Do? Let's go. How are you? Yeah.
So what will you be watching Saturdays on ABC News Live?
What would you do?
Hey, I guess I just found out.
The What Would You Do Marathon, 2 to 6 Eastern, every Saturday on ABC News Live.
My favorite show.
Welcome back. Accusations of plagiarism against the court clerk who co-wrote a book on the Alex Murdaugh trial. The latest on yet another streaming service adding advertisements and remembering comedian Tom Smothers of the Smothers Brothers. Those stories and more in tonight's rundown.
The former business partner of a Utah parenting influencer has pled guilty to aggravated child abuse. Jody Hildebrand accepting a plea deal in which she pled guilty to 4 out of 6 charges, all second-degree felonies.
How do you plead to count 1, aggravated child abuse, a second-degree felony?
Guilty.
It comes just over a week after her former partner, Ruby Franke, who ran a popular YouTube family advice channel, pled guilty to the same charges. A court will sentence both women February 20th. Police investigating the death of popular South Korean actor Lee Sun-kyun. Fans around the world knew him for his role in the Oscar-winning film Parasite. Police have been investigating allegations Lee used illegal drugs. They found the actor unconscious in a car in central Seoul. Police now looking into a possible suicide. Lee Sun-kyun was 48.
Another streaming service is adding ads. This time it's Amazon Prime Video. Subscribers were warned about the change earlier this year, and now a date has been set. Beginning January 29th, movies and TV shows on the service will be broken up with advertising. Amazon says it plans to have fewer ads than other streaming providers. Ad-free programming will cost an extra $3 a month.
A new twist in the case of Alex Murdaugh, the South Carolina lawyer convicted of killing his wife and son.
County Clerk Becky Hill co-wrote Behind the Doors of Justice, the Murdaugh Murders, in which she details her role in the trial, but she's now accused of plagiarizing a section of that book. It appears Hill copied from an article by a BBC journalist for the opening of the book, and this comes just months after Alex Murdaugh's attorneys had accused Hill of jury tampering.
The family of Tom Smothers announced he's died. Tom and his brother Dick started out as folk musicians in the 50s, but added a comic act and a TV skit show where they lovingly jabbed each other for laughs.
In a statement, Tom's brother Dick says their relationship was like a good marriage. The longer they were together, the more they loved and respected one another. Tom Smothers died from cancer. He was 86.
New York City is preparing to welcome 2024 with a bigger and brighter ball. The ball measures 12 feet in diameter, has over 2,600 crystal panels, and a bow tie pattern, calling back to when Times Square was once known as the bow tie. Legendary singer Paul Anka will usher in the ball with a performance of his hit song My Way. He gave a preview of what's to come to WABC.
And very soon I'll sing this tune on New Year's Eve. You will believe it. Till then, goodbye. Please don't let me cry. I'll be doing it my way. Terrible. My way.
All right, so no secret, the holiday rush is on. Consumers are expected to take back more than $170 million worth of unwanted presents. That's why I send my wife links. ABC's Eva Pilgrim with more.
Drumroll. If you find yourself with a special gift, like Clark from the movie National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation.
What is it? It's a one-year membership in the Jelly of the Month Club.
Then now is the time to make those returns.
It's the gift that keeps on giving.
Companies like Uber are making what can be a daunting task easier with a new return a package feature, which they talk to us exclusively about.
With returns, it's another hassle for consumers today, and what we offer is that time savings.
To see how it works, we gave it a try.
Too small, sending it back.
First, I package up my Amazon return, address too small for my daughter, then open the Uber app as if I'm going to order a car, but instead hit this package icon.
We've got a driver, 18 minutes away, it says.
Once the driver arrives, I hand them my return package, and in this case, he takes it off to the local UPS store. The service can drop packages at UPS, FedEx, or USPS locations. It costs $5 a trip for up to 5 packages or $3 for Uber One members.
If you are an Uber One member, we're running a holiday special. It is free returns all the way through January 6th.
Known for its food delivery, DoorDash is also getting in on the return game. The company offering deliveries to UPS, FedEx, and USPS. It'll cost you $5 a trip for up to 5 packages. But through December 30th, DoorDash is offering free package pickups for all users. For our return with Uber, the driver texted us when he arrived to the UPS store, and we were able to track his trip.
Okay, I just got a notification that the driver has returned the package, and he even took a copy of a receipt so that I can see that it was
an easy return and one less errand to run.
Our thanks to Eva. 2023 is coming to a close, and as we approach the end of the year, as we always do, we're going to take a look back at the pop culture moments that captivated and transformed even society. To help us, we welcome Dr. Marcus Collins to the show, best-selling author of For the Culture and marketing professor at the University of Michigan. Dr. Collins, thanks so much for being here. We appreciate it. We always love these segments. One of the major 2023 controversies we'll start with was the Bud Light backlash that got so much attention. The brand boycotted by some consumers after a collaboration with transgender TikTok star Dylan Mulvaney. That started a real national conversation, didn't it?
Absolutely. It forced the country to sort of face its biases, perhaps even some of his bigotry about how it sees the world and what's acceptable and what a brand responsibilities are as a social player, as a social actor. Right? If you want to be a part of culture, you want to tap into these moments that are cultural in nature, it made us start to have the discourse around what does it mean for these brands and what obligations they have with regards to those things.
This summer was a summer of strikes, most notably from SAG-AFTRA and the Writers Guild of America. How can we expect those strikes to change the industry moving into 2024 and beyond?
I think that the SAG strikes, even the Starbucks strikes, even the UAW strikes, what it is send a signal that the collective voice will always be powerful than the institution. Right? The collective voice will always have more gravitas than the institution. And what it means then is that the little guy, right, the marginalized, if you will, that there's still agency when we come together.
And from political and social voices to entertainment voices, it felt like the year of the woman. Superstars Taylor Swift and Beyonce both had record-breaking stadium tours. Talk about why both were hugely successful this year and some of their success and really the degree to which they have this power. I mean, we talk about Taylor Swift boosting economies everywhere she took her tour.
Beyonce and Taylor Swift, they have transcended being artists. They have transcended the music that they create, but they represent something now. They signify something. They signify a certain brand of feminism, a certain brand of women's empowerment. And therefore, their music, their cultural production, the concerts they put on, their movies of their concerts, all of these things become opportunities for people who see the world similarly to engage in their own identity project. They engage in their own sort of view of feminism and be a part of something far greater than themselves. And Beyonce and Taylor Swift is a demonstrative representation that they aren't playing for fans, people who like their music. They are going out in the world, preaching their gospel, as it were, to a group of people who see the world similarly. For Taylor Swift, it's the Swifties. With Beyonce, it's the Beehive. These are the people who see the world the way these people do, these iconic women do. And as a result, they enter in commerce. They spend their money. They enter to exchange as a way of making their cultural membership material. And this is unbelievably powerful. Again, it's more than just the music. It's what does it mean? And for culture, that is a meaning-making system, this is undeniable.
Yeah, and let's talk about Barbenheimer for a minute. The weekend, both Barbie and Oppenheimer, because we have to mash everything up, hit theaters. Two very different, very popular films. Why did they draw so many people back to the movies, you think?
Twofold. I think the Barbenheimer experience created an opportunity for us to be in concert, for us to be in community, for us to do a thing. We are social animals by nature, as Aristotle would say, that we have a giving to be connected. The second is this is really sort of the reverberation of Barbie, because much like Taylor Swift and Beyonce, Barbie represents a certain brand of feminism, a certain brand of women's empowerment. And the people who went to go see Barbie, they didn't just go see a movie. They weren't just engaging in the content. No, they were wearing Barbie pink, which represents where you stand on the social discourse, where you stand in the conversation. And I think this is why it's important to talk about these happenings through a cultural lens, because it's not just what happens, it's what it means that matters most. And the meaning behind Barbie, it's more than just a nostalgic play on a brand that we've known for decades. That this was a way by which people were able to signify their identity, much like going to a Beyonce concert or going to a Taylor Swift concert. All these things were ways in which people were able to engage in their identity in a really powerful, meaningful way.
What other moments stuck out to you in 2023?
I think what really reverberated for me was some of the marketing that went out in the world. I think about the Grimace milkshake for McDonald's. This is sort of the first time we've seen at this fidelity the brand sort of sharing the pen with their fans, letting their fans sort of rewrite the rules on how the brand will respond to things or how the brand will interact with the dominant cultural discourse in a really powerful way. Of course, we cannot forget the fact that we celebrated 50 years of hip hop. This is a culture, a genre that people thought was going to be a fad, that this wasn't going to be a thing. And here we are 50 years later, and we see culture, we see hip hop culture grow up.
Dr. Marcus Collins, thank you so much. What a joy to talk to you about the past year. We'll see you next year.
Thanks for having me. Looking forward to it.
2023 was also ablaze, literally, with record heat and so many different climate calamities, but there are solutions that will help reverse some of the damage humans have already caused. Here's ABC's chief meteorologist, Ginger Z.
Looking at the planet through the lens of National Geographic photographers. These images from the December 2023 Pictures of the Year issue gives us a sense of Earth's splendor and also some of the challenges that face the delicate planet we call home. All right, we took off. Let's go see Lee. And when you cover weather and climate for a living, you get a front row seat to the turbulence.
There's a hurricane. Yeah, there it is.
So buckle up as we take you on a whirlwind tour from flying into a hurricane to the bottom of a 30-foot snow hole. 2023 came in roaring for California.
The core of that bomb cyclone, well, it brought big-time winds, and you can see that gas station awning was taken down, just some of the damage.
A state plagued with drought got too much rain too fast. Despite the damage, reservoirs filled for the first time in more than a decade. and even resurrected a ghost lake.
If you would have been here 6 months ago, this road that we're standing on that is submerged down there would have led you to tens of thousands of acres of critical farmland in our nation. That farmland is now gone.
In the Sierra Nevada, it all came down as snow, more than 800 inches of it in some spots. It was an epic year to study at the Central Sierra Snow Lab, where we dug deep to help scientists predict flooding in the spring.
You're seeing me at the bottom of a snow pit. We're about 35 feet down.
Across the country, in the city that never sleeps,
And with a milky Manhattan behind me and those milky skies, this is not something that you want to be exposed to for hours without being protected.
we won't soon forget choking on that smoke from Canada's unprecedented wildfire season. From Minneapolis to Chicago to New York City, the United States intermittently had the worst air quality in the world this summer. And as the world bakes in its hottest year on record, extreme heat was the story of the year.
When we say we've never seen stretches of 10, 12, 15, 20 days, depending on the city, we are obliterating records.
The planet heating at an unprecedented pace, literally off the charts. And it wasn't just hot on land. Marine heat waves around the world, ocean temperatures soaring to 101 degrees in the Florida Keys.
This water is like bath water, and it is warm early. That's the big deal. With water temperatures 4 to 7 degrees above average for this time of the year, it is likely fatal for much of the coral reef.
We were there with the scientists the moment they discovered a mass coral bleaching event never seen before in the Florida Keys.
So we've been looking at several patches. It's all white. It's dead. That means within the last 2 weeks, bleached, gone.
Warm water is also super fuel for hurricanes, and a 2023 study says that those extremely warm water temps can make it twice as likely for hurricanes in the Atlantic to intensify more rapidly, like Hurricane Idalia.
It is amazing to think as we have this now Category 3 hurricane about to make landfall. We're 100-some miles south and east of it, and look at the pooling of coastal flooding that has taken over.
Rapidly intensifying and surging into the Big Bend of Florida, flooding Treasure Island hundreds of miles away. And in October, Acapulco slammed by a devastating Cat 5 Hurricane Otis.
Otis went from a tropical storm to a Cat 5 in just 12 hours, which is something that only a handful of storms have done around the world since records began.
A year of extremes, marking the global impact of climate change.
Climate change is here, it is terrifying, and it is just the beginning.
The devastating toll of climate change and its existential threat to all of us, and is the ultimate threat to humanity.
We have to run as fast as we can to make change.
Climate scientists say the best way to make that change is to move away from fossil fuels as quickly as possible. And this year, I got a closer look at some other solutions. In Florida, restoring manatee habitats that were decimated by storms and saltwater. Planting fresh eelgrass by hand. In the West, a growing use of cloud seeding, making it snow more than it naturally would, and how simple landscaping choices could help protect homes from wildfires.
The native shrub here, the white sage, has all but stopped the invasive grasses from keeping to burn. And then here, the ignition site is still going, and they have not lit.
Just some of the many efforts to make that much-needed change.
Well, we're not going to give up. Humans have caused this problem, but humans can also solve this problem.
Look at her go! Look at her go!
All right, Ginger, thank you. And you can tune in tonight to ABC for a 2-hour look back at 2023 from the news stories that mattered the most to the celebrity romances that we just couldn't stop talking about. The entire team at ABC News, from Robin Roberts and George Stephanopoulos to David Muir and Lindsay Davis, come together to bring you the year 2023. And that's our show for this hour. I'm Phil Lipoff. Stay with ABC News Live for more context and analysis of the day's top stories. Thanks so much for streaming with us. And coming up in the next hour, the pop culture and social trends that consumed us this year. ABC's Juju Chang has all the good bits. But first, the high-pressure meeting between U.S. officials and the Mexican president today, seeking a path forward in the migrant crisis.
Why
do so many people start their day here?
From ABC News, this is Start Here.
To be in the know and get a different take on the day's top stories. Start here.
Now, that's a part of the story I bet you didn't see coming.
Make it your daily first listen, wherever you get your podcasts. From America's #1 news comes the all-new ABC News app. Breaking news, incredible video, faster, smarter, and customizable to your interests. If you love being in the know, you're gonna love this. Experience the all-new ABC News app. Download it now.
It's lunchtime in America, so what are we serving up?
Well, how about everything you need to know?
You know, that sounds pretty good.
Give it to me. Your health, your money, breaking news, pop culture, with the biggest stars, music, trends, and of course, good food. GMA 3, what you need to know. A third hour of GMA in the afternoon.
So join us, Afternoons.
For everything you need to know.
I love that.
This is ABC News Live.
The crush of families here in Poland.
At refugee centers.
In Putin's Russia.
On the ground in Ukraine.
Close to the front line.
From the capital.
Destructive Cat 4 storm.
You're along I-5.
Boston is in the bullseye.
Let's go.
ABC News Live, America's #1 streaming news. Anytime, anywhere. Streaming 24/7, straight to you for free.
Thank you for making ABC News Live America's #1 streaming news.
We have really good news. Congratulations, you're pregnant.
I was terrified. It was just so traumatic. Nightmare. People need to understand, these were wanted babies.
18 women facing life and death medical conditions. Their lives now out of their control.
I felt like I was going to die.
Our lives and our health are debatable. I wouldn't wish this upon my worst enemy.
Diane Sawyer, Rachel Scott, On the Brink, now streaming on Hulu.
All right, here we go. You ready? Let's do it. Yes, it's the show America wants and America needs right now.
This is What Would You Do? Let's go. How are you?
Yes. So what will you be watching Saturdays on ABC News Live?
What would you do? Hey, I guess I just found out.
The What Would You Do Marathon, 2 to 6 Eastern, every Saturday on ABC News Live.
My favorite show.
Whenever, wherever news breaks, it's so important to always remember that lives are changed. Here in London, in Buffalo, Uvalde, Texas, Edinburgh, Scotland. Reporting from Rolling Fork, Mississippi. Ukrainian refugees here in Warsaw. We're heading to a small community outside of Mexico City, getting you behind the stories as they happen. ABC News Live Prime. We'll take you there.
Stream ABC News Live weeknights wherever you stream your news. Only on ABC News Live.
Reporting from Monterey Park, California, I'm Robin Roberts. Wherever the story is, we're going to take you there. You're streaming ABC News Live.
Good evening. This is ABC News Live Prime. I'm Phil Lipoff in tonight for Lindsay Davis. Thanks so much for streaming with us. We do have a lot of news to get to tonight, including heavy rain coming for the Northeast, putting millions on alert for flooding. We are tracking the storm as it barrels up the coast, plus the backlash from some students against refugees seeking shelter in Indonesia. And from the fads that found us to the obsessions that held us, it's time to look back at pop culture and social trends that consumed us in 2023. But we are going to begin with the new developments at the border and major talks between Mexico and the U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken and the Homeland Security Secretary are in Mexico City to push that country's president to do more to slow the migrant surge at the U.S. southwestern border. This as a caravan of migrants around 6,000 strong is making that dangerous journey to the U.S. border. They could arrive early in the new year. Sanctuary cities like New York and Chicago have been feeling the pressure from the influx. Overnight, a plane carrying nearly 200 asylum seekers was diverted to Philadelphia because of bad weather. They later arrived to New York City on packed buses. ABC's Maria Villarreal leads us off tonight from Texas.
Tonight, U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken arriving in Mexico City, pressing Mexico's president for help with the migrant surge at the border, joined by DHS Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas. Sources telling ABC News that the Biden administration planned to push Mexico to step up immigration enforcement within their country, help reopen key ports of entry, and encourage migrants to stay in Mexico. The urgent meeting coming as border officials brace for this caravan of migrants, an estimated 6,000 people pushing through southern Mexico towards an overwhelmed U.S. border. Marvin, a migrant from Honduras, says in our country the situation is getting worse and worse. We are only looking for an opportunity to work. We are not criminals. Their journey, a treacherous one. On Tuesday, officials in Mexico say they located one body in the Rio Grande after 2 men drowned while trying to cross into the U.S. near Matamoros. December, now on track to have the highest number of Border Patrol apprehensions ever, according to CBP data. Several days this month seeing more than 10,000 apprehensions. Republican Texas Governor Greg Abbott using taxpayer dollars to fly hundreds of asylum seekers to Democratic-led sanctuary cities like Chicago and New York, where local police limit their coordination with federal immigration and customs enforcement. Overnight, a plane carrying over 180 migrants from Texas diverted to Philadelphia due to weather issues. The group later packed on buses and transported to New York City. Tonight, Mayor Eric Adams now requiring those buses to provide 32-hour notice before arriving in the city and urging the federal government to step up.
This is a national problem that has only been exacerbated by Governor Abbott's cruel, inhumane politics. The federal government must take responsibility.
Our thanks to Maria Villarreal. And now we are going to turn overseas and to renewed fears of a wider conflict in the Middle East. Once again, a group within Iraq launched drone strikes against U.S. forces in the region just days after the U.S. hit key targets there in retaliatory strikes. Here's ABC's Terry Moran.
Tonight, renewed concerns of a wider war in the Middle East as Iran-backed rebels launch another drone attack on U.S. forces stationed at Erbil Air Base in northern Iraq. The attack is the latest of the more than 100 incidents where Iranian-backed groups have targeted U.S. troops with rockets and drones since the start of Israel's war against Hamas. Just this week, President Biden directed U.S. forces to carry out multiple retaliatory airstrikes on Iranian-affiliated militia groups in Iraq, who hours earlier launched self-detonating drones that left 3 U.S. service members injured, 1 critically. In response, Houthi rebels in Yemen, backed by Iran, fired on more commercial vessels in the Red Sea, according to U.S. Central Command. U.S. warships in the region shot down 12 drones and 5 missiles over a 10-hour period.
The United States has pushed forces to the region to try to deter the war in Gaza from expanding. Of course, that also gives our adversaries, especially Iran and their proxies, more targets.
President Biden's calculated response to all these attacks on U.S. forces in the region have so far failed to stop them, raising the stakes in what has become a shadowy showdown with Iran over U.S. support for Israel against Hamas. The dangerous instability seemed to spread farther over the weekend when a chemical tanker was struck by an Iranian drone 200 miles off the coast of India.
Terry Moran from the nation's capital tonight. Terry, thank you. Now to the Israel-Hamas war with still no end in sight. More than 100 hostages are still being held by Hamas as Israel is expanding its ground offensive in central Gaza now. Military officials insist this war could continue for, quote, many more months. Here's ABC's Britt Clennett in Israel again tonight.
Tonight, Israel ratcheting up the rhetoric on regional tensions, with the Israeli defense minister saying Israel is under attack on several fronts, including Syria and Lebanon, where the IDF claims to have hit Hezbollah targets. Israel is facing mounting international pressure to secure a deal to free the more than 100 hostages still held by Hamas. President Biden speaking to Qatar's Emir, the 2 leaders discussing the urgent effort to release all remaining hostages, including American citizens, and the need to boost humanitarian aid to Gaza. Overnight, Israel conducting some of its heaviest strikes in this war, hitting locations in central and southern Gaza. The Hamas-run health ministry saying more than 250 people have been killed in 24 hours, hundreds more injured. The World Health Organization describing the dire state of Gaza's healthcare systems.
Almost all of the hospital services have stopped functioning, either because the facilities themselves have been affected, because the staff have been forced to flee, because they run out of power or they run out of medical supplies.
Under the constant bombardment, dozens of Gazan children playing at this UN school, grasping onto a sense of normalcy. 10-year-old Rawan saying, we play to forget the pain we've experienced.
Britt Clennett from Israel Tonight. Britt, thank you. A pregnant teenager who disappeared before she was scheduled to give birth and her boyfriend are believed to have been found dead in Texas following a days-long search. According to San Antonio police, the bodies of an 18-year-old woman and a 22-year-old man were found in a parked vehicle, each with a gunshot wound. An unborn child was also found deceased. They are believed to have been in the boyfriend's vehicle for 3 to 4 days. The victim's cause of death and identities will, of course, be confirmed by the medical examiner. Former President Trump scored a legal victory in a major battleground state today. The Michigan State Supreme Court has rejected an appeal to keep him off of the state's primary ballot in 2024. ABC's senior investigative correspondent Aaron Katersky with details.
Tonight, a battleground state victory for former President Trump. The Michigan Supreme Court has decided Trump stays on the ballot, declining to take up a challenge by a liberal-leaning group seeking to declare Trump ineligible from running in the 2024 Republican primary based on his attempts to overturn the results of the 2020 election.
If there's uncertainties about whether someone should have access to the ballot, you decide in favor of giving the voters the choice to and allow that person on the ballot.
Trump lauded the decision, writing on social media the Michigan Supreme Court strongly and rightfully turned aside what he called this pathetic gambit. There are similar challenges to Trump's eligibility in more than a dozen other states, including Oregon and in Maine, where the decision is up to the Secretary of State. Today, Trump's lawyers said Maine Secretary of State Shenna Bellows, a Democrat, has exhibited a personal bias and asked her to recuse herself. So far, only the Colorado Supreme Court has disqualified Trump, and he's expected to appeal to the U.S. Supreme Court. All of the challenges cite January 6th and are based on Section 3 of the 14th Amendment, which disqualifies candidates from federal office if they engaged in insurrection after previously taking an oath to defend the Constitution, which Trump did during his inauguration.
Preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States. The Constitution of the United States.
In Michigan, a lower court said whether the 14th Amendment applies to Trump is up to the political parties that run the primary elections. A majority of the state Supreme Court justices said we are not persuaded that the questions presented should be reviewed by this court.
All right, Aaron, thank you. There's a victory for Apple to tell you about tonight as it battles to keep its newest Apple Watch on the market. A federal appeals court granting a temporary reprieve, pausing the import ban on the latest model of the Apple Watch. That means the company can resume sales while the court weighs allegations that the company infringed on the patent of a medical technology company. Apple says the watches are available today in stores and tomorrow on their website. Tonight, a dangerous storm system is dumping heavy rain in the Northeast, and with it, an urgent flood threat along the I-95 corridor. With more than 10 million Americans under a flood watch tonight. Let's get straight to senior meteorologist Rob Marciano to time it all out for us. Hey, Rob.
Hey, Phil, look, we're looking at more rain on top of what we've seen the past month. The Northeast has seen twice as much rain as we normally should get. A couple of flooding events as recent as last week, and some of those same spots are probably going to see some flooding tonight. So here's a threat area that includes New York City, up through Westchester County, Philadelphia, back down through Maryland. And again, this is going to happen, I think, in the next 6 to 12 hours. That big Midwest storm is transferring some of its energy to a coastal low. So that's what's bringing in some of the brighter colors here. Coastal flooding as well, but I-95 up through northern parts of New Jersey, including the Hudson Valley, right around midnight, give or take a couple of hours. Through the early morning hours, that's when the real rain is going to be coming down. The heavy stuff at 7 a.m. is just east of New York City into Long Island, parts of Connecticut, New Haven, Providence. Eastern New England will continue the rain throughout the day, but the heaviest stuff will be across New Jersey and the Delaware Valley. 1 to 3 inches of rainfall. Much of that, Phil, is going to be coming in the dark of night tonight. So kind of dangerous situation if you live in one of those flood-prone areas.
Yeah.
Phil?
All right, it's a good heads up. Rob, thank you. So much more to get to tonight. Coming up, the violent backlash against refugees seeking shelter in Indonesia. Plus, the new piece of art honoring one of the world's top-selling musicians.
Whenever news breaks,
we are here in Israel, a nation at war after that brutal surprise attack by Hamas.
On the ground in Ukraine, reporting from Lewiston, Maine.
The scene of a horrific mass shooting.
ABC News Live is right there everywhere.
From the scene of that deadly missile strike in Dnipro, Ukraine.
reporting from the earthquake in Turkey.
In rolling forth, this tornado tore through this little town.
From the most devastating disaster in Hawaii.
From Charleston, South Carolina, on the 2024 campaign trail.
In Iceland, let's go.
Traveling with the president in Mexico City.
Wherever the story.
From the front lines, from southern Israel,
Outside the Gaza Strip.
in Beirut.
From the FBI.
Reporting from the nurses on the picket line.
Here at 10 Downing Street in London.
Streaming live to you.
Wherever the story is.
Wherever the story is.
Wherever the story is, we're going to take you there.
You're streaming ABC News Live.
ABC News Live.
You're streaming ABC News Live.
ABC News Live. Streaming free everywhere. America's #1 streaming news.
Everything is so fine. Little bit of sunshine. Some more, just a little bit. Breathe more, just a little bit. Smile a little more in a minute. I've been running through the strange life. Pictures on my phone life. Everything is so fine. Little bit of sunshine.
Good morning, America.
All right, here we go. You ready? Let's do it. Yes, it's the show America wants and America needs right now.
This is What Would You Do? Let's go. How are you?
How cute.
Yes.
So what will you be watching Saturdays on ABC News Live?
What would you do?
Hey, I guess I just found out.
The What Would You Do Marathon, 2 to 6 Eastern, every Saturday on ABC News Live.
My favorite show.
Reporting from the war in Ukraine, I'm Ian Pannell. Wherever the story is, we'll take you there. You're streaming ABC News Live.
Welcome back. We are tracking several headlines around the world at this hour. A large crowd of Indonesian students stormed a convention center housing hundreds of Rohingya refugees from Myanmar, demanding they be deported. Footage showing the students, many as you see wearing green jackets, running into the building's large basement space where crowds of Rohingya men, women, and children were seated on the floor and crying in fear. The Rohingya were transported to another shelter. Heat exhaustion is the cause of death of the Brazilian Taylor Swift fan who attended the Eras Tour in November, according to a forensics report obtained by the Associated Press. The 23-year-old passed out during Swift's second song and died hours later at a local hospital. Temperatures in Rio that day were at about 105 degrees Fahrenheit. The report also said she did not have any pre-existing conditions or substance abuse issues that could have led to her death. Shakira, one of the world's top-selling musicians, has been immortalized in her famous belly dancing pose in a giant 21-foot bronze statue in her home city of Barranquilla. The massive art piece was unveiled in front of the singer's parents and brother. The sculptor said the statue, quote, shows millions of girls that they can pursue their dreams and any of them can achieve what they want. Shakira posted on Instagram saying this was more than her little heart could handle. 2023 is coming to an end, and that means it's time to look back at all the pop culture and social trends that consumed us this year, from Barbie and Beyonce to Taylor and Travis, The Jury, and some other guilty pleasures. Here's Juju Chang.
For anyone who is a little bit extra, 2023 was our year.
So cool.
Pop culture was epic in like a bubblegum sort of way.
Women were ruling.
2023 was the year to get us back out to concerts.
Let the show begin.
The Queen slayed. And we paid, making Beyonce's Renaissance World Tour one of the highest grossing ones by a female artist in history.
More than just a concert, it's this whole experience.
People could come and be who they wanted to be.
The Queen put out a call to wear silver, and there was a run on it. Make that a silver stampede.
Only Beyonce can tell everybody to show up like the Tin Man.
What Queen Bee says goes.
And what she said also made it onto movie screens.
I feel liberated. I have transitioned into a new animal.
Beyonce's Renaissance film took us where fans never get to go for a backstage diva deep dive.
Really get to see how hard she works, the family dynamics. This is a labor of love.
Showing up at the film's premiere, Taylor Swift, the only person who could possibly out Beyonce.
2023 was the year of Taylor Swift.
We're about to go on a little adventure together. Make that a big adventure. Taylor called it her Eras Tour, and that's what we got, a guitar-rocking journey through every musical era she's ever had. It became the highest grossing tour of all time and the first to cross the $1 billion mark.
She performed for 3.5 hours, did not break a sweat. I got winded finding my seat.
And not to be outdone by Queen Bey, Taylor made her own tour film.
The first concert film to cross $100 million and on its way to $200 million.
New money and some old songs reborn.
Cool Summer is such an anthem, and here it is rocketing to the top of the charts 4 years later. No one saw this coming.
What else no one saw coming? A pop star tight end romance that vies with Person of the Year for Couple of the Year.
Taylor Swift, Travis Kelce, they're at the top of their games, one literally.
Travis Kelce is a football player for the Kansas City Chiefs.
Taylor Swift did for the NFL what Barbie did for the color pink.
And speaking of pink,
Hi, Barbie.
Hi, Barbie.
Hi, Barbie. Hi, Barbie.
Oh my God, it's happening.
Greta Gerwig being the first female director to gross more than $1 billion on her film. So this film was a total blockbuster, juggernaut.
These amazing stars of Margot Robbie and Ryan Gosling, I'd watch them, watch paint dry.
If we were looking for an excuse to wear hot pink clothing, get the girls together, and go to the movie theater, yeah, like Barbie delivered. It was like, yes, 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 yes.
Of course, the lesson I think others are taking away is we need more movies about toys. We need to let women direct more films and write them.
You can make an argument that between Taylor Swift, Beyonce, and Barbie, that women really just kept the economy afloat in a very troubled time.
And you're welcome. See it? Can you get all that in there? Did you get all of it?
a double feature muscle flex came in the form of Barbie's opposition, Oppenheimer, which instead became the perfect double date.
Barbenheimer was this incredible mashup of two very different types of movie.
A movie about a nuclear weapon in Oppenheimer.
Why do they care what I do?
Because you're not just self-important, you're actually important.
We look great.
I love Fringe.
I love denim.
Somehow, these movies come out at the exact same time. And Americans are like, yeah, I'm here for it.
Barbenheimer was the celeb couple we did not know was happening in 2023.
Best Picture should be Barbenheimer, especially if you watch them back to back.
Because that's a lot of movie.
And a lot of new music. That took guts.
Olivia Rodrigo delivered.
Made some real big mistakes. She make the worst one look fine.
Look, Olivia, you made a banger of an album. Couldn't you have done it when I was still in high school?
Vampire. I love the aesthetics of it, and I just feel like hearing her voice just makes your heart tingle.
Bleeding me dry like a damn vampire.
What may have tingled people the wrong way was Elon Musk's rebranding of Twitter to X.
Which immediately made everyone go like, am I logging onto a porn site right now?
People were buying verification badges and then putting out really bad information.
There are so many bros doing so many ridiculous bro-y things on X, it might as well be called Elon's Mojo Dojo Casa House.
A lot of celebrities were throwing open houses this year in tell-all memoirs.
I get the opportunity to share my story for the first time ever.
One of the most highly anticipated, Britney Spears' memoir, The Woman in Me.
Oof, did she have a lot to say?
The biggest bombshell was Justin Timberlake.
She said she was pregnant and he didn't want the child.
Justin Timberlake's, kind of infamous Cry Me a River music video.
Cry me a river.
She says clearly meant to portray her as the person who wronged him.
And look, I've been side-eyeing Justin Timberlake for a while now.
Justin hasn't publicly commented since the book came out.
She finally is at a place where she gets to tell her own truth.
We were also dying to know when or if Ronald would figure out the truth on Jury Duty, a show about a fake trial that fascinated us.
This literally feels like reality TV.
Bingo. Everyone was a paid actor in on the joke, except for kind-hearted everyman Ronald Gladden, who thought he was serving on a real jury.
I didn't know that there were hidden cameras everywhere. I had gone 3 weeks with this feeling in my stomach being like, something's not right.
What is that?
They're a chair for him.
No.
When the chair pants came out, I don't think I would have kept it together.
They were putting him in situations like, what's he gonna do?
You know what? You take some risks sometimes, you know? Not all of them pay off. I was just trying to be a decent person.
It turned him into an overnight star, but surprisingly,
I still have never served on a real jury.
in 2023, while some people were losing it by laughing, others were just plain losing it, pound by pound.
My favorite fashion trend of this year was Ozempic, so everybody could fit into the rest of their fashion trends.
A magic bullet for some after years of struggling to lose weight.
All of a sudden, people started getting skinny. And everybody was like, what's going on?
When I look around this room, I can't help but wonder, is Ozempic right for me?
Stars. They're just like us, except they lose 50 pounds in 2 days.
In one new hit, the big O stood for, well, older. The Golden Bachelor gave us one of the biggest TV premieres of the year as we followed 72-year-old widower Gary Turner's quest for a second chance at love.
I'll be the first bachelor that's on Social Security.
There's a beautiful message here that love conquers all, including, you know, osteoporosis sometimes.
Here's to you, ladies, here's to you.
You found your person.
I found my person.
This is amazing that this is happening at this time in our lives.
We are not invisible.
It was life-changing for us. We did feel seen.
2023, a year for so many to feel seen and heard and celebrated.
Nobody has fun like we have fun, right?
Write that down, book it, done.
Juju, thank you. And if you didn't get enough, you can tune in to ABC Tonight for a 2-hour look back at 2023. From the news stories that mattered the most to the celebrity romances we just couldn't stop talking about. The entire team at ABC News, from Robin Roberts and George Stephanopoulos to David Muir and our own Lindsay Davis, come together to bring you the year 2023. And still to come, why this sneaky 3-year-old thought it was a good idea, it seems like a good idea, to unwrap all of his family's Christmas presents.
Why do so many people start their day here?
From ABC News, this is Start Here.
To be in the know and get a different take on the day's top stories.
A lot of news today, so let's get into it.
Listen now to the Daily News Podcast honored with 4 Edward R. Murrow Awards and see why the New York Times calls it a news podcast worth listening to. Start Here, ABC News. Make it your daily first listen.
Now, that's a part of the story I bet you didn't see coming.
Wherever you get your podcasts, Start Here. With so much at stake, so much on the line, more Americans turn here than any other newscast. ABC News World News Tonight with David Muir, America's #1 most watched newscast across all of television. From America's #1 News comes the all-new ABC News app. Breaking news, incredible video, faster, smarter, and customizable to your interests. If you love being in the know, you're gonna love this. Experience the all-new ABC News app. Download it now.
All right, here we go. You ready? Let's do it. Yes, it's the show America wants and America needs right now.
This is What Would You Do? Let's go. How are you?
Yeah. So what will you be watching Saturdays on ABC News Live?
What would you do? Hey, I guess I just found out.
The What Would You Do Marathon, 2 to 6 Eastern, every Saturday on ABC News Live.
My favorite show.
And finally tonight, the build-up to Christmas morning was simply too much for one toddler to take, who then took matters into his own hands. Our Andrew Dimbert has the story.
'Twas the night before Christmas, and all through the house, not a creature was stirring. Except for a 3-year-old?
Both of us went to sleep thinking everything was fine, everything was great. And then we were awoken with a request for scissors, which is not really how you want to be woken up at 3 a.m.
Not an odd request, considering it was Christmas morning, but it was alarming because it was 3 in the morning.
It just didn't enter our heads as a possibility that someone would go down and open all the presents.
Parents Scott and Katie Reinken went downstairs to find every single present unwrapped, paper strewn about, and gift bags upended.
And you could see the presents he didn't really care about because he ripped them open, looked at them, and moved on to the next one.
but literally every little tiny thing except for the stockings were unwrapped.
The toddler explaining his altruistic motive.
He told us, he was like, well, I just was trying to make it less confusing. I wanted to open them so that everyone kind of understood what presents were for who.
The parents quickly rewrapping as best they could, with the other two children none the wiser, caught up in the magic of Christmas morning.
It's it was hard to be mad at them. We just know what a joyous sort of thing that was. It caused us some brief panic. And then, you know what? We enjoyed the rest of our day.
Okay, I get not wanting to wake up to the scissor thing, but I totally am with that toddler. That's why my wife hides my presents. So maybe I'm not the best to ask. That's our show for tonight. Andrew, thank you, by the way. I'm Phil Lipoff. ABC News Live is here for you all night with the latest news, context, and analysis. And you can always find us on Hulu, Roku, Pluto TV, and the ABC News app. And, of course, abcnews.com. Good night.
This is ABC News Live.
To crush a family